So we often talk about how this year's presidential race is unprecedented, but in a truly jaw-dropping turn of events, Florida may have just become a battleground state. In a memo first shared with NBC News, the Biden campaign says it now sees the state as winnable, a sense made stronger after a pair of monumental rulings by the state Supreme Court. The first cleared the way for a strict 6-week abortion ban to go into effect. The second keeps the issue in the minds of voters through November, when they'll cast ballots on whether to enshrine abortion rights into the Constitution. And already the Biden campaign is out with a new ad, reminding voters there about Donald Trump's role in all of this.
In 2016, Donald Trump ran to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, in 2024, he's running to pass a national ban on a woman's right to choose. I'm running to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again, so women have a federal guarantee to the right to choose. Donald Trump doesn't trust women. I do.
Let's bring in NBC's Matt Dixon, senior national politics reporter based in Florida. And Steve Schell is a longtime Florida Democratic strategist who ran the state for Obama-Biden in 2008. Good to see both of you. Matt, the Biden campaign says Florida's now winnable. The fact is, if I'm right, the state has almost 1 million more registered Republicans than Democrats. So how do they think they can do it?
Well, this is the first bit of good news for Florida Democrats in roughly a decade. It's been very bad for them in Florida. Florida had the moniker of the nation's largest swing state for a very long time, but it's kind of home right now to the most unlucky state-level political party in the country, Florida Democrats. But in this memo that was first shared with NBC News, the Biden campaign outlined several things they can do to sort of resurrect Florida as a battleground state, but it hinges a lot on these abortion rulings. As you talked about, the president's out with a new ad, and I think there's going to be a singular message and a singular focus that you hear in Florida. It's going to be abortion, 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 because Florida, because of these rulings, kind of has a unique place in that conversation, and it's been a very politically effective message for Democrats in other parts of the country.
We should say that all those folks behind you in Green Bay are folks who are there for a Trump event later tonight. But Steve, let me ask you, you actually worked for the last Democratic president to win Florida, so you know this is a big state. It's expensive to run in. And arguably, it's not such a hard argument. It's still a long shot for Joe Biden. How does the Biden campaign figure out, for example, how much money to put in Florida versus Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina? I mean, it's high reward, but it's also high risk.
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that Trump has to win Florida to win the White House. I mean, the last president to go to the White House who was Republican without Florida was Calvin Coolidge. And so their path has to come through here. The Biden campaign has a lot of different options. And I think, listen, they clearly invested in these states that they won last time. That's the right thing to do. But I think we're at the stage of the campaign where the broader you can make the funnel at the beginning of the campaign, the more states you can put in play, particularly when you have the financial advantage that the Biden campaign has right now. That's just a smart strategy.
So, as you know, Steve, campaigns also have an incredible ability to micro-target voters. We talked to a Republican mother and her 21-year-old daughter, and they're actually genuinely torn about how abortion might affect their vote. Here, take a listen.
It is one issue that I do feel strongly about as far as women having a choice, but at the same time, I'm a big picture type of girl, too.
I believe every woman should have a choice, but I also do think there is a certain point where it becomes an issue, where it is an issue, but I don't think that the choice should be completely eliminated.
I've got a daughter, so I want to, also I'm her advocate, and now she's of age to vote, too, so I'm hoping, she exercises that right.
So there was a poll, Steve, of Florida voters late last year. It showed 62% of voters there support the abortion rights ballot measure that was just added, including 53% of Republicans. So how does Joe Biden, how does Team Biden find these people, mobilize them, and for people like that, get them to vote on that issue?
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing from a Democrat perspective is on the amendment is it's a chance to organize. I mean, if you go back to the Obama campaigns, we organized a lot around pro-choice Republican women. And so it's an opportunity to go have a conversation with voters, to do some IDs that way. But I think that's not really the only issue this year. I mean, you also have, issues of Social Security and Medicare, which have come up quite a bit from Trump of late. And those are issues that were really important to us in 2008, 2012. And so I think, really what they're doing, getting a start early, putting a team on the ground, giving themselves 3 or 4 or 5 months to go build, talk to voters, build a big database, and see where things go is really the smart play.
What are you seeing right now in terms of Biden versus Trump ground game?
Right now, I mean, it's still really early in the campaign. I mean, I would just remind folks that, our Obama campaign didn't start till June. And so, it's still pretty early for both sides in terms of having staff on the ground. Both campaigns have a small staff that'll ramp up. But I do think that, again, this choice amendment from the standpoint of organizing is really important. You're going to have a lot of voters who are going to be motivated to get out. A lot of voters who are registering to vote for the first time. Maybe some voters that dropped off the rolls, have gone from active to inactive, who will now get re-engaged. And that's an opportunity for the campaign to have more conversations with real voters. And that's how they're going to get to making the state competitive.
And meantime, Matt, you've got some important new reporting about Republicans and mail-in voting. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's a huge conversation right now within the Republican Party. Vote by mail is becoming increasingly popular. And we had roughly 10 reporters across the country talking to voters and party officials about this dynamic of President Trump sometimes saying disparaging things about vote by mail and whether they agree with that. And what we kind of came to the conclusion that most Republican Party sort of professionals or operatives are pushing the idea that vote by mail is important and they have to keep doing it. But there are some grassroots folks, some voters, some very, very fervent Trump supporters who are still very skeptical and taking their cues from the president, what he said in the past. So how the party is going to kind of work that out and get their people to potentially vote by mail is going to be something to watch moving forward.
Matt Dixon and Steve Schale, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.